Hello.
Hi.
Here we are back again in the thick of life, episode number 2. Are you excited?
Yes, I'm very, very.
It might take us like some hours though. So you asked me after we recorded the first one, like, what do you think about recording an episode on nervous systems and just talk about like what nervous system actually is and not this idea, like social media based idea of nervous system and what it means to be regulated and what it means to understand the nervous system and all this like social media culture around this, but the actual like in the thick of life nervous system. You
Yes,
want to say some things about it?
yes. I've been wanting to talk about it for a long time. And I sometimes talk about it in my stories or do quick posts. But I think it's a topic that really needs long, good conversation. And I think it's good that everyone talks about the nervous system. It's like making information available for everyone. It just, I think we've come to this point where it needs to be good information, you know, because Yeah, because the short form content makes it so it's incomplete, there's no nuance, there's no complexity. Anyone can interpret the information in a way that it suits their own point of view. And also, like we talked about earlier, also everyone talks about it, even people who did not study nervous system. So it ends up being,
Mm-hmm.
is a lot of misconceptions, is the
Oh
word I'm
yeah,
looking for.
like a straight misinformation.
Exactly.
There's
I
so
thought
much BS out there.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think we can have a lot of fun debunking the misconceptions and explaining. I'm actually really excited to do something that is more, we wanted to do this podcast as really conversational, emergent. Let's see what comes up. And I'm actually excited that we kind of talked it through and that we want to do something more educational because I think it's really missing to have something free available that educates.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. And before we were chatting, and I'm like, I'm gonna roll my eyes today so much
Me
because,
too.
yeah, what I told you before is like I feel so like really, really so deeply annoyed by the overculture, and everybody's an expert in body, and everybody's an expert in nervous system, and then you look at the thing they share about it. Oh no, oh no. So,
Yeah.
shall we just dive straight in?
Yes, I have a
And
question for you.
yes, tell me.
What is the nervous system?
So, nervous system. What is a nervous system? There's like many definitions. I don't like any of those. Yeah, a lot of the times, body, the nervous system is being compared to hardware and software. Hardware, the body, software, nervous system. This is also like could be like a good enough way to begin to understand, but is also it puts body and the nervous system into a very specific context that is very linear, very technical. And this is also something that we want to talk about today, the languaging around things like regulation, this is good and this is bad, like all this kind of stuff around just living in the human body, having a nervous system. And then people say these words, and very often they don't mean anything anymore
Uh-huh.
because there is no actual physical like body connection to
Yeah.
the actual thing.
And I'll just add before you define it, interesting what you say, because I've also done that. I think because between us practitioners, we can sometimes use the more
Mm-hmm.
conceptual side of the
Mm-hmm.
nervous system. And I've had a friend who's also a practitioner say to me, I think it was 2 months ago, I'm kind of sick of the French nervous system. And she was actually meaning the French field of consciousness,
Mm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
understood what she meant. Like
Yeah.
she meant the collection of,
Yeah.
But then I thought, wow, if we start saying things like that, this is gonna be, we need to stop because we
Yeah.
understand what we mean. It's like just we use it as an allegory or like an image or
Mm-hmm.
metaphor, but it's not real. Like the nervous system, I think, needs to stay as something like flesh and blood and not
And electricity.
an electricity
Lots of electricity.
and not just a concept of energy. Yes, I think it's mixed up sometimes with energetic
Oh yeah. I
phenomena.
did
Yeah,
interesting.
because, I think the interest in nervous system these days comes a lot from people who suffer from trauma,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and things that are more in the energetic psychosomatic field. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
spiritual. And so it's so easy to start talking about the nervous system, to
Mm.
explain or explain or understand things that you're feeling in the realms of energetic and psychosomatic. And so then you end up moving away from the physiological realities. And it's actually also how I came to the nervous system, because I don't come from the body work or medical
Mm-hmm.
profession.
Background, yeah.
And I had mainly psychosomatic issues. And because I'm a brainy person, for me, it was more psycho.
Mm-hmm.
Not too much. Or like psychospiritual. Psychospiritual is my land. It's so easy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I would use nervous system stuff like it's an image to describe life, you
Mm.
know?
Yes.
And it
Yes, yes, yes.
demanded that I don't even know how it happened. I think lots of just learning and friends and realizing that it's actually my flesh, and then coming to the body and understanding what nervous system means. So anyways, yes, it's physiological.
It starts as physiological. To me, nervous system is kind of as a communication pathway, kind of as a connector and a tuner. And also, like a little side note here, a lot of the times, especially currently in this like social media, again, social media over culture, nervous system and the body are being used as an excuse. Like my body told me I have to stay today. It's it's just you not wanting to do that. Just don't. You know? It's like, no, my body decided da da da, and like, oh, just own it. Or my nervous system feels this and that, and yeah, and I was like, oh,
It's so
it's
convenient.
yeah. So then what if you wouldn't use it as an excuse and just own it, the
Yeah.
thing, and just don't do whatever you don't want to do?
Yeah. 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 I mean, it's like
So,
when people explain their shitty behavior with
yes.
trauma.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
I get
yeah.
triggered. Yes, you don't have to be an asshole.
Yeah, I got triggered. I'm a manifesting generator in human design. I have like
That's a good one.
freezing something something, and I'm Aries sun, I don't know, Virgo moon something something. It made like planets made me do this. Yes, responsibility and maturity. Those are
Mhm.
like so nervous system.
Yes.
Something that I've noticed, like I've been teaching this for at least 5 years now. And so, like, teaching this stuff, and something that I've noticed that this piece, that is a very foundational piece of understanding what it actually entails, like what is the, the tissue of the thing. We miss it all the time. And I work a lot with quite advanced practitioners who've done like a lot of trainings, and they come to me and we address this, and they're like, wait, what? This is cool. So, nervous system. You kind of can, the nervous system has two main branches, central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system is brain and spinal cord, and peripheral nervous system is everything else. Peripheral nervous system divides into somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Somatic nervous system is voluntary movement, like literally the muscle movement of the body. Autonomic nervous system is sympathetic, parasympathetic, and very often is being also like the third branch is being added currently, enteric, like the gut situation. Sometimes enteric is being also put kind of under them. So it's
Mm.
like sympathetic, parasympathetic, and then the next one would be enteric nervous system. So this little bit, sympathetic, parasympathetic, the autonomic nervous system, this is what a lot of people call the nervous system. And I'm always like, look, there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. So we decide to focus on this. Another example of this would be the vagus nerve.
Mm.
Vagus nerve, the holy grail of all nerves. Like, no, no, no. It's not even the central nervous system. It's peripheral nervous system, right? Yeah. Is it important? Yes, very. Is it a good thing to know about it? Absolutely. But is it like the main factor of everything? No, right? It's kind of also in the human nature, and especially in the nature of social media, to make everything like very narrow.
Okay. So why do you think, I think that's important. Why do you think it's important to include all of the branches and not just the autonomic?
I mean, everything works together. It's like, okay, let's separate and we just like talk about one pinky finger. As we say the body, but we actually talk about the pinky finger. To
Mm-hmm.
me, just does not make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you speak about the nervous system and the body, and especially in the somatic world, which somatics literally means of the whole body, you know? So to me, it's like,
Yeah.
what are we doing exactly?
Yeah.
Right? And then a lot of people forget also about the importance of the brain, which is again it's a part of the whole. It's not, yes, it is so very important because your whole life is being kind of ran by your brain in a way that the brain predicts what's going to happen next. Yeah, brain always works on prediction, on pattern recognition and on prediction. Another thing that I see on social media as a shaming strategy is you stuck in survival. You are stuck in survival, and those are the signs and those are the reasons why you should come and join my program so I can help you get out of the survival. Again, does not make any sense to me because the job number one of your brain is very literally survival. Yes, tell
But
me.
then, okay, that's super interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, the brain's main job is survival. And so, can we consider that a healthy nervous system or a healthy brain, whatever, means that it's okay to be in survival? Or like, because the narrative is you need to get out of survival.
Good luck with that.
Exactly. So then we're kind of like redefining what health is.
Uh-huh.
And I'm curious what you think about that. Like, do you agree? I mean, I know the answer is no, but it's just curious about it. Do you agree that a healthy nervous system is a nervous system that is out of survival?
No,
Mhm.
because this is like a bigger conversation to see a body in the context of many other things that are happening. So we will add to this in a minute. I want to here to layer like the brain topic, layer it a little bit more with like what is a healthy, happy brain. And now we're talking like about the organ,
Okay.
the physiological organ that
Mhm.
needs good care.
Mhm.
And the brain, like to be happy, a brain needs two things,
Mhm.
fuel and activation.
Okay.
Fuel is oxygen, is nutrients that like things you eat and drink and stuff. Water. Activation is movement. And movement is also the job number two of the brain.
Mhm.
And so again, what I see so very often, it just bugs me so much, is just people like educate themselves on social media content and they're like, I have this pain in the neck and I think it's my like ancestral trauma and stuff. And I'm like, did you move today? Did you drink enough water even? Like, oh no, this is not important. Yes, it is.
Yeah. And you know what's important now, if we connect to what you were saying earlier, the movement is the somatic nervous system, is the voluntary movement.
Exactly.
Like it's the everything is connected thing. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And then it just sometimes it's like I'm laughing now, not because it's funny, but it is. Sometimes things are that simple.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And also, like, just don't forget that exercise still is one of the best ways to get out of depression. That's still the case today. You know?
Did you move? Did you drink? Did you eat well? Did you sleep?
Hmm.
And those are like, right? And sometimes we don't want to even believe that things can be simple.
Yeah.
Like, no, but I suffer so much. It must be something that's like ancestral and
Yes.
karmic and something. And it's
Yes.
like, must work hard on it. And if I like several times, many times, is actually I had clients who come like, I have this like neck and there's like head and there's something like very heavy and I don't know what is happening. And I'm like, are your glasses, are they on prescription? Is it updated? And they're like, oh no, I checked it like 6 or whatever months ago. Go check it again and then come back and tell me that you still have this heaviness and like ancestral weight on the shoulders. It was
Mm,
gone, you
yeah.
know?
It's like digestion. Like, is it trauma or are you low on magnesium?
Yeah.
You know? Maybe
Yeah.
check your
Yeah.
electrolytes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. So since we're talking about the body and the health, I wonder if there's something to be said also about the differentiation between male and female nervous systems
Hmm.
also, because I feel like in the Western world, which is in the world,
It reaches everywhere, yes.
the like famous figures on nervous system are often men, white men, but like men. And I don't think it serves women because we have a different nervous system. And it's also so interconnected to our reproductive health that there is a bit more complexity in it, or it's just different. Yeah. And also, just want maybe just speak on this like in a few seconds. If for the women who listen, there's also a huge interconnection between our female hormones, quote unquote, and our nervous system health. And that oftentimes in those nervous system educational spaces, we don't talk about the uterus that much or at all. And
Mm-hmm.
even female sexuality is often non-existent. So yeah, just wanted to say that and to keep in mind to like learn the
Mm-hmm.
things between us, like, and not in spaces that are male dominant, because it's not the same thing. It's not the same bodies. And we don't have the same priorities also in terms of nervous
Mm-hmm.
system checklists. And you know what's interesting now that I'm thinking about it is that when you were talking about survival, and so maybe we will circle back to it. And is it okay to live in survival? It depends a lot on how chronic the condition is. Like survival is your brain's job. And at the same time, yes, if you're in chronic survival, you might have reproductive issues. You might have
Mm-hmm.
issues with other systems because they are less prioritized. So there is something to be said about survival. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
the gimmick of your nervous system is only there for survival is way to, I mean, it's both true and untrue. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Like it's
Yes.
true because like you said, like that's what it does. It is there for your survival. And at the same time, if you keep saying that your nervous system is only there for survival, you maintain this relationship where with your body, where you feel that your body is against you and your body is perpetually working against you instead of
Mm-hmm.
actually, it's also there for your thriving and your self realization and all the good things that your soul is here to express.
I would actually argue that because the body physiology is there for survival. If we're speaking like physiology, if we let's first like redefine the body. So first, if we speak about physiology, body, brain as physiological organ, those are for survival. Your physiology always wants to be like small and invisible and in contraction. This is like a evolutionary movement, right? But then, this is what I said before that, like at some point, the complexity of what it entails to be human, because we do have this body, this physiological body that is wired for survival. Like it literally exists for survival. And then there's other components. And then we can speak about the soul and the spirit and the higher consciousness and like all this access to altered states. And then the deep self is there for expansion, is there for thriving. And then there's like a perpetual double bind,
Mhm.
existential double bind of the physiology that kind of keeps pulling you like, no, just let's stay on the couch and eat ice cream and watch series the whole day and nothing, like I don't need to like blah, blah. And then there's something bigger that is like a driving force that is like really like the expansion, the opening, the connection, right? And then the question is when people say like my body said this, and I'm like, which which body, like what are we calling a body? Because to me a body, human body, is all of it at the same time. And
Mhm.
then the ability to hold in a felt way, to have an experience of both my brain and my physiological brain and my physiological body is here to kind of like protect and orient to danger, not even to safety, to danger, right? The brain is always orienting like how dangerous is this really, not for safety.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then the bigger, like larger deep self aspects, they are there for thriving. And can you hold both at the same time? That's wizardry. Like wizardry level skill, because a lot of the times it's like I'm either there or I'm here. I can access states of expansion through meditation or whatever somatic practices, like whatever, dancing, breathwork, whatever it is you do, plant medicine, right? And then I come back to my quote unquote real life, and then there's contraction, and I don't know how to do life, but they coexist at the same time.
Mm.
So define that nervous system, define like this is to me also the body, capital letter B, and the nervous system that is goes much beyond the physiological brain and spinal cord and nerves endings and stuff.
But the reason why I challenge this, like orientation towards danger and survival all the time, is because our orgasms come from the nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like good things that are in the realm of thriving and love and resonant relating and creativity and inspiration and pleasure and many other things, they're also through the nervous system. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think my issue with this sentence, that is, your nervous system is always oriented towards danger and survival, is that then
Physiological. physiological nervous system.
Yes.
There's like a little
But,
caveat.
like orgasms, they're also physiological.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know?
Could be. Not always, though.
I mean, honestly, it's my inquiry. It's my kind of
Mm.
thing I navigate is to find just how much our nervous systems can also reorient towards thriving. I have this, maybe it's my orientation to be in this inquiry, but I have this feeling of we need to be oriented towards danger because like you said, like we're human animals, like you have to actually be
Mm-hmm.
here. Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
you're dead if you're not oriented towards danger.
Mm-hmm.
And also in this inquiry of embodiment of spirit, what is the really interconnection between that spirit and the actual nerve endings and the actual like flesh and blood of all the good sensations that help your soul land and do its thing,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm not arguing the truth of what you're saying, but mostly like what it might entail as an ideology for people when they
Mm-hmm.
say your nervous system is for survival, is that it's a simplification where you think that your whole body is against you and your whole body is also like the container where your soul lands, even though, as you said, we have other dimensions and other speeds. That's another conversation.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's a very, like, I was just thinking also, like, we could spend here like 5 hours talking about it, and it will not be enough time to even begin, like, scratch any kind of surface with this. Because to me, like, really, yeah, if we call it the embodiment of the soul and embodiment of the spirit, it goes so beyond any categories of words,
Mhm.
so beyond. And every time I will fail, every time. And then like go and try to explain this. And another really important thing that we kind of tend to forget, and we as a human species, that survival strategies, whatever they are, or sometimes we can call it trauma strategies, right? I don't know, people pleasing, whatever the key of flavor is. This is mine. Survival strategies and trauma strategies are always a movement of the body towards health, towards life, right? We can get into this, exactly what you said, like into this idea that the body is working against me. And like, I've been there. I've been there. Like I like in the first podcast, in the first episode, I shared a little bit about like coming into safety, in the physical, physiological safety for the first time, and just the body started falling apart.
Yeah.
I really, for some periods of time, I was like, I don't know, like this is not working.
Yeah.
This is working like really against me.
Yeah.
And so I totally, absolutely, totally was not able to orient to any kind of health or life that is happening through this movement
Mhm.
of quote unquote falling apart. So
That's
like
the
I get it.
shame economy
Oh, yeah.
you talk about often.
And yeah, and then like all kinds of practitioners would also tell me things like, oh yeah, it's just like you're dysregulated.
Oh yeah, we can
Like,
talk about the dysregulation word now. Let's get it over with.
why don't you start?
Okay. Well, there are many things to say. The first I will start with is also I'm trained as an engineer. So, when I used to regulate stuff, I would regulate a temperature, for example. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and humans don't work that way. Like the way I learned about systems and using the word regulation, we use the word regulation a lot as systems engineering because you regulate stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really not as complex as the human body. It's actually quite simple. Like you have an input, you have an output. You need to make sure the system makes you the coherent output with the input you have at the beginning and that it works. You don't have a glitch or something. And so when I came to this work and saw the word regulated, I was like, what does it mean? Like, what,
Mm-hmm.
like we're regulating to which output? Like, how does
Yeah.
the system work?
Yeah.
And so what I've noticed, and honestly, Katja, I still haven't met anyone that doesn't come from our industry, like
Mm-hmm.
regular people. I haven't met anyone who uses this word to say something else than relax or calm. Like they use the word regulation, yeah,
Yeah.
to say down
Calm down.
regulation.
Yeah, calm down.
Yeah. So it's a one type of regulation. It's when you're hyper and you need to go down and you need to be calm. Like the flat line is viewed as this like calm and
Mm-hmm.
collected state, you know? And it's a huge problem because it's again the shame economy. You're shaming yourself instead of meeting yourself where you are.
Mm-hmm.
So you're actually just gonna keep being in this cycle over and over and over again. And it's also so sad because you are like shielding yourself from the whole spectrum of human life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And we are misunderstanding what health is in the sense that we are not including fast health. So many of my clients are shocked when I talk about fast health. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
it exists, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's like with the fight flight, you know, I think so many people now know the fight, flight, freeze, fawn, maybe flock, but like, you know, the
Mm-hmm.
trauma reaction,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to say it this way, like survival mechanisms. But they don't realize that there is something called the healthy fight, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like fight is not necessarily a problem. It's actually a good human, it's manifestation of the ability to stand in your truth, to defend yourself or defend your loved ones or your territory. It's about knowing who you are and being able to state your opinions without feeling like you're fighting someone all the time or like being defensive and activated all
Mm-hmm.
the time. So healthy fight is something we actually need, especially women, but honestly everyone, you know, to be able, you know, it comes with the individuation and knowing who you are and growing.
Mm-hmm.
And so what really makes me sad about this binary of like dysregulated, regulated, like activated versus calm is that then you lack curiosity towards yourself, you know, or you don't have this, like, we're not anymore in this inquiry of, oh, it's interesting. I noticed that every time in this type of context, I kind of go into this realm and I cannot access that side of me. It's interesting. Or like, I actually don't have that much fast health. Every time something goes fast, I lose my presence and I feel trapped. And, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you lose the complexity of understanding how you interact with the world. It's just simplistic, stressed,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
stressed.
Yep.
So yeah, that's why I hate that word because I feel like we can use it. Sometimes I use it with colleagues, but I feel like in the mainstream, it just oversimplifies so much and we can replace it with so many other words. I feel like just using the word expansion is a bit better,
Mm.
not as, you know, but it's a bit better than just regulation. But maybe you have a better word. I like resonance.
I like resonance as well. Sometimes stability could be a good one. Can we find stability within fight, within flight, within whatever, right?
Or presence.
Usually presence. Yes. Kind of there will be moments when the capacity and the ability to stay oriented in the moment
Mm,
just kind of poof goes poof
mhm.
and it's not there anymore. And those are the points of inquiry for
Yeah.
me. And also like looking back for myself and my personal experience, looking back now and how much more of this capacity I have now and stay like oriented in my like sharp thinking, in the feeling all the feelings in real time instead of like, you know, storing them, storing them. And then at the end of the week on Saturdays, I have my practice and then I cry a lot and I release all the trauma and then I go again. Right? This is
Yeah.
how we do things. We store things for later, then we release the thing, go to the session of like do trauma release therapy, whatever. And like, is this then the goal? Not for me.
What is your goal?
I want to live a life of mythic proportions and be able to feel this life as I go in real time. That's like it's that simple, but not that simple at all. Like I want to feel it all. I want to have the full range of all of the possible human feelings and experiences.
Mm,
Sometimes what I say is like I want more life in this life.
mhm.
When it's like feels intoxicating sometimes. I was like yesterday we had a session with some of my students and by the end of the session like I was crying. I was crying because I was so overwhelmed with being like literally in love with every person there. And like and some years ago, right, I would be like, oh, no, like as a practitioner, you don't do this. You gotta be like neutral and regulated, you know? But that's to me kind of the whole point. I want to feel this like, I want to be intoxicated by life. I want to feel this like waves of life moving through me
Mhm.
and moving me and through me. I don't want to go through my week, and then I have a Saturday practice to release it all, to cry about things, and then go again, which something I was doing. I was doing this when I was working in corporate, but I was not doing this as a practice. I was doing this as a nervous breakdown. I would go for 2 months approximately. So my cycle was like, it's like a classic global high intensity activation if we talk like nervous system language. 2 months-ish was my cycle. I would go, no breaks, no nothing. It was just like full on speed. And then I would time it for a weekend. So I would wait for a weekend to have a nervous break. That's like, it's funny, but it really, it's so sad also, but it's very funny. It's very funny. I would time it. So I'm like, okay, like one more day and then I can break down. And then I would like just melt and cry on the floor. I just completely like in the full breakdown for 2 days, 3 days sometimes. And then I was like, okay, it's Monday again. Oh, let's go. So this is like, it's an equivalent of what kind of a lot of regulation practices are, I would
Yes.
say.
Yes. They're not in the completing the wave, they're
Yeah.
in the soothe and distract.
Yeah.
And I think honestly, sometimes the majority of, yoga practice and meditation practice and things you do, they're useful in the sense that it helps your nervous system not explode.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God, you know,
Yeah.
but they aren't what people think they are.
Yes.
People think it expands their capacity, but there is no change in their chronic conditions. It's just soothe and distract
Mm-hmm.
so that you manage, like resource your nervous system so that it doesn't explode. But you never give those right conditions for it to
Yeah.
complete.
And then, yeah, do you want to start talking about the right conditions? Because I find that this
No,
is something, no?
I
Yes?
mean we could, but then like it's
Just maybe a little bit, like give a
okay. Go
little bit
ahead.
of context, because I find also that a lot of the time
Uh huh.
I call it right vibrational conditions of
Oh.
what being met with what and how. Yeah, because different states and different experiences need to be met with something else. Some experiences in the body need to be met with a yoga practice. Some experiences need to be met with a good conversation. Some
Yeah.
of the experiences need to be met with, I don't know, whatever,
With tough
long
love.
run. Yes, tough love. And also, like, come
Sometimes.
on, now you
Yeah.
get up and do the damn thing. Some experiences need to be met with a very stable, slow presence of someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what does need to be met with what?
Mm.
What
It's
is
the
the
inquiry.
resonance of the thing? Exactly. And so the way how I teach it, I call it right vibrational conditions. And one of the trainings we both did this training, so we kind of have similar languaging around this topics. So this is why, like, can you start like speak some words about this? Because I find that a lot of the times it's very difficult, like people again to try to understand like mentally what does it mean, but how to like. So okay, how do I do this? The right conditions.
Yeah.
So tell us.
So, well, compassion for everyone because I think we're all mentally oriented, and I know I struggled
Hmm.
so much when my teacher was like, "Right condition, condition."
What? Yeah. What
I need the
conditions?
list. I
Give
had
me
the
the
pen.
list. Give me
I
the
had the
list.
pen and the
Yes.
paper, and I was like, "I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hack this thing." It doesn't work, and I think
Surprise.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So it's a lot about surrender and curiosity, and I feel like sometimes you actually have the conditions they're in the daily life. Like I'm just realizing now that sometimes, I said tough love because sometimes just someone telling me, honestly, you're just wasting your time. You could just do it. And that's exactly what I needed. Or like, what you're doing is just shit.
Yeah.
Stop
Get
doing
over
this,
yourself.
And
Do
these
it.
are the right conditions. And sometimes it's like you said earlier, we overcomplicate things. And sometimes the right conditions are, look, a friend is going to look at you a specific certain way and is going
Mm-hmm.
to create something, the friction, the like collision, and you're gonna be like, and then,
Mm-hmm.
or like you start fawning, but the person in front of you doesn't let you, like in the sense that it doesn't play
Mm-hmm.
the game. And so then you have to confront the discomfort and complete your wave. I work with a lot of women who have very sensitive frozen systems, like burnout, you know, lack of motivation, despair, that type of things that I also know personally. And for example, for that type of physiology, oftentimes, but again, we cannot control it mentally because it's in the lived experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's about having someone sit with you. over and over and over again and be like, we have time and I'm not scared of what you're going through and I can stay with you hours and hours and hours and it's fine. And this repetition and this being in it is what changes things. And when you try to control it with the mind, you're bypassing the presence. And so you are preventing yourself from actually drinking the conditions, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like letting yourself be
Yeah.
taken by a bigger, more resonant field that is going to help create this completion and the transformation of what is of that like traumatized geometry in you,
Mm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
Is it clear?
To me, yes.
Okay. I
To me,
always
it's
wonder
very
if
is
it's clear. Yes, but you know, I think as practitioners, we it's really one of the things that we are obsessed about, trying to explain this type of things in a way that it's
mm,
understandable because it comes up in my sessions so often. You know, they say to me, "Explain the conditions things." I don't get it,
mm-hmm.
and I say, "We already in it. Like
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
doing
yeah.
this." You know, so yeah, right conditions can be right company, can be right.
But there is no list. I just want to make sure, like,
Yeah,
very clear. Those are just some examples of the
exactly.
infinite possibilities. Because it's always, again, to me, it's always, and this is something I tell my students all the time. It's not about the how do I do this? It's about am I, as a practitioner or as a human in just like normal daily life or in a session or whatever it is that I do, am I able to be oriented to the actual felt experience of life happening right now?
Yeah,
Yeah, and sometimes the answer is no, and that's okay. Totally okay. This is
yeah,
like the human cycle of disconnection, connection,
yeah.
oriented, disoriented, forgetting, remembering.
Exactly. And if it can be reassuring for people who are not practitioners, like we don't know what we're doing. I mean, we do, but we don't have we don't have a protocol. Like I'm not like,
No, exactly. Yeah.
this is what we're gonna do.
Let me look at my lists.
Yeah. Because this would be exactly the shaming and being like, no, you're too much in your head. You need to get in your
Yeah.
body. I'm sorry. If
Yeah.
you don't get in your
Yeah.
body, you're gonna stay traumatized. That's I'm sorry.
Well, this is
You know?
exactly what I
No.
also
You
hear so often. Like, no,
yeah.
no, no, you just don't want this bad enough. You just, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're gonna stay like this, I guess.
And it's just, or at least that's how I see my session work is I'm just as curious as you. Let's be in
Mm-hmm.
this inquiry. And sometimes I'll have ideas about what I feel are the conditions or suggesting, or I will change my own behavior or like posture. But I didn't plan it, you know?
Exactly.
It's about feeling the feel and the vibration, like you said. So yeah, if you can reassure people who aren't in the industry, like we don't know that
Well,
much.
we do,
I
but
mean,
we
we do.
don't.
We trained a
But
lot to learn to do
yeah.
nothing.
Well, yeah, but yeah, uh,
That's kind of it.
but that's exactly the kind of the wizardry level skill to
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Like when you can really let go of all the protocols and tools and lists and whatnots and really be just in relation in the moment with someone or something
Mhm.
or with the field. Yeah, like my work is less with like one-on-one personal dynamics. It's more group and bigger fields dynamics. And so my work within those sessions is exactly the same what you described in your one-on-one situation. I listen. That's it.
Yeah,
I listen to the field. I facilitate the field and then the field does the rest. I'm not the one who's like, okay, so I know what to do. Let's do this
yeah,
because I know I studied for this, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, so funny.
And that's what makes it fun. I mean, honestly, I would find it so boring if you had protocols. I would be like, I need to change my job. I couldn't
Hmm.
do it. I think that's what's really cool about it is that you are, yeah, it's like, I love this expression that you say when you talk about your own school, the school of advanced humaning. It's like you're in the human experience. And so it's so good. Like it's so satisfying to be in
Right?
experiences
Exactly.
that help you to human. And I find that that's also something that my clients reflect back to me. It's like, there's something different about other therapies. I don't know what it is. I don't have
Mm.
words for it, but there's something satisfying about being in those spaces.
Because, you know, why? Because it is in the thick of life.
Ooh.
Like, literally,
Yeah,
this is it. This is it. So
yeah,
simple, but so not simple at all.
Yeah. And I know we're gonna circle back to this idea again, but just saying, I really do have an issue with the therapeutic ideologies we live in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm honestly so sad, sometimes to the point of crying after some sessions, like collective cry, because I'm so sick of receiving clients who are like, well, I need to work on myself and I've already done 4 years of therapy, but I was procrastinating to start with someone else because I need to, it's like starting from scratch and blah, blah. And I'm like, you're not
Mm.
starting anything or ending anything. You know, you're already
Mm-hmm.
living life. We're just gonna keep living it together and see what comes up.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't even have to do therapeutic work. We can start just by resourcing and like, let this be a an hour you're excited to spend with me and not
Mm-hmm.
something like I have to. And they're like,
Yeah.
what?
What? Yeah,
Is this
what?
possible? And I'm like,
Yeah.
man, what have we done? Like, I want to enjoy my work, honestly. So, yeah, this
Yeah.
is something I'm really mad about. I think it's shitty culture. Okay, so what if we go back to the physiology so that we make sure we
Let's.
didn't forget things
Let's.
we did not want to forget because it is the first time that we actually have notes. It's not an outline, but just like bullet
It's a
points.
it's a it's a second episode, but this is the first time we have notes.
But honestly, I do think it's gonna be the last one. You know, it's like we did it. So I want to ask you, Katja, about sensory input before motor output.
Yes. Yes. This is something I also repeat like as a broken record in a way. Sensory input before motor output. What does it mean? And I had to think about this as well when you were talking about the systems and regulating the systems, but from the engineering point. There's an input, something happens, and there's output. And
Okay.
what we do, we need to regulate the coherent output. And how we do this? By what? Regulating the coherent input, probably, and the processing in between.
Mm-hmm.
And the nervous system is kind of like, if we simplify it to the point of like simple, 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 simple,
Uh-huh.
does exactly this.
Uh-huh.
There's sensory input that we perceive through senses, through touch and smell and sight and, like taste and all stuff, the hearing, everything. There's processing in the brain, in the physiological organ brain, and there's output that can look like movement, like speech, like emotions, like thoughts. Like thoughts is an output of the nervous system, emotions, output of the nervous system. And then when people start like hammering down on the mindset, on the emotions, they work on the output only.
Mm-hmm.
And then we miss the whole input situation, like how the body perceives information in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
the interpretation in the sense making and the meaning making, and then we only work on the output. Yes, tell me, what is this face?
I have a question. It's so interesting.
Yes,
So can we consider that thoughts or like ideas, like from the mental plane, can also be in the sensory input?
this is like an extra layer. Yes, and yes, and yes. This is an extra interesting conversations. Maybe we can even have like a whole episode on this, because thoughts and how do you perceive thoughts can also come from very different places. It can come as an output of the nervous system, again, physiological brain trying to make sense of things. It can also come as more of a clair, right? Like as a subtle perception thing. It can come and be picked up from a collective field, from another person, from projections, from right, like it can come from more subtle perception, it can come from the physiology more, it can also come and linger as a like this, how I perceive it, is like a little vortices, like little momentums of
Mm-hmm.
the mind, right? Like what we would call looping and overthinking type, like spiraling type thinking.
Okay.
And then people kind of treat it as a like thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Just
I'm
one
again,
phenomenon.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And then I'm again like, which ones? What are we talking about like specifically?
I
Because
have
there's
a
a whole
great
range. Yeah.
I have a great example of this. This is why I'm asking because I work with a lot of women who are in the realms of like who are single and in this single in their 30s, sometimes 40s, and are in this like mud of there are no good men.
Mm.
And I noticed a pattern that is interesting is that those thoughts, they are definitely meaning making from their own perception of men.
Mm-hmm.
That agreed.
Mm-hmm.
But also part of it is also learned ideas
Oh, yeah.
because they read so many books, feminist books, but that are so hyper oriented towards the fact that men are necessarily privileged and they all use women for their own benefits and blah, blah, blah. And they will read statistics, information about sexual violence and blah, blah, blah. And so they will come to me and be like, but you know, and especially when I work with women who come from that type of jobs, like they come from social politics type of studies, they will be like, yeah, but you know, I mean, good men don't exist because blah, blah, blah. And so I feel like it's both. There is the meaning making that comes from their own trauma, feeling unsafe with men, and having learned so much and being also on social media, always consuming content that
Yeah.
feeds the loop. So that's interesting.
Absolutely,
So it's both
100%. And
input
then,
and output. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. And then we kind of feel bombarded by both at the same time. It's like, I don't know what to do. And then we're
yes,
kind of in the middle and there's this buildup of tension. And
yeah,
then a lot of people just like, I have no idea what is happening right now. So there's
yeah.
no differentiation.
Exactly. So like you said, when you were listing, it's like the projections and the collective field and the like
Mm-hmm.
so many inputs
So
and the
much.
outputs and it gets
And
enmeshed.
here's a cool thing of a body, again, physiological body. We always become better at what we practice. Period.
Say that again.
Neuroplasticity 101. We always become better in what we practice. And it has also like a scientific name, the SAD principle, as an SAID, not the SAD like a sad little principle, but a SAID, specific adaptation to imposed demand. It's just a smart way of saying we always become better in what we practice. So if we practice hating men, we will hate men more. If we practice sitting on a couch being frozen, we will sit on a couch and be frozen more and easier. So it becomes easier and easier and easier and easier to do the thing that we practice.
Yeah. How do you, okay, this is interesting, a little bit off topic, but I think it's a good thing to say. Do you, like, what advice would you give to people who have quote unquote bad habit or like a habit they want to get out of? But it feels like it's so hard to go from zero to the actual result they want. Like, for example, I never work out and I would
Mhm,
really, really like to, and I need, like for my health,
mhm.
work out 3 times a week, but it feels like impossible to do. What would be your advice? Especially for a system that is a little bit frozen, like I can't take too much intensity.
I would first go like full in, and this is also where I would really recommend receiving professional support, but really go full in into the movement that is happening now. Like if there is an experience of I am not able to work out or it feels impossible to do this, like there is a certain movement already that is happening. Yeah, and each person will have a very specific flavor of this.
Even if it's collapsed?
Yeah. There's so much intelligence, like literally in every survival pattern, trauma pattern, whatever, however, like we want to call it, but whatever your body does, whatever is happening, it has an underlying intelligence always, period. This is like non-negotiable. This is like a fact. What we like to do sometimes, we like to pathologize it.
Mm-hmm.
I know that working out 3 times a week is a good thing and it is not happening. So must be doing something like I need to change this. But we cannot change the thing by rejecting the thing. And here again, I really recommend finding like a really good, we need to also define at some point, like, what does it mean, a good
Yeah,
practitioner?
you're
But
right.
find a good practitioner who is able to meet that intelligence with you together
Mm-hmm.
and go into it, like
Mm-hmm.
go with it first. And
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
promise you like 100%, guaranteed, with a good practitioner, guaranteed that there will be an answer to your
Mm-hmm.
question.
Yeah, like like what is the inherent intelligence?
Yeah, what is the movement that is happening and what does it need to be complete?
So that,
So that nobody knows what's going to happen then because your mind decided, like your human thinking mind decided that working out 3 times a week is a good thing. So I should be doing that. This is your idea of health, but maybe not necessarily the actual underlying movement of health that is happening.
yeah, exactly. Maybe curious about your opinion on this. And maybe at the same time of going to that good practitioner, orienting towards a doable piece of movement can also be a good idea.
Yes. Again, it very, very much depends on the
Yeah.
person, situation, on everything. Because a lot of the times when it's like, okay, so I'm freezing, so I'm better. Like pivot 180 and do the opposite. A lot of the times it will be like the intelligence that like is moving you that way, and you're like, oh no, we're going that way.
Yeah.
The decision made by will, it will repeat itself again. Probably like very high chance that it will
Yeah.
repeat itself again, same way, maybe a little different way, but it will repeat itself over and over again.
Yeah. And for listeners, what Katja is also speaking to, I think, is that when we do that, like when we override the inherent intelligence of our body, what ends up happening is like it backfires. Like
Yeah.
we just do the thing. Like, for example, I'll work out 3 times a week for 3 weeks and then I'll collapse. And I'll collapse maybe even harder than how I was before. And it will come, I think, with waves of shame and guilt of like, oh, I can never do this, never. And so it
And
stacks.
then it adds up to the whole thing more,
Exactly.
instead of really getting to know what the undercurrent of what is happening now.
Yeah.
Right. And very often we just like to make it like a bad, oh, but I really need to work out, but it feels impossible. But I really need to, but it feels impossible. And so this double bind of this movement only exists because we pathologize the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Mm-hmm.
kind of create our own stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not me saying, like, I want to be super clear, saying, like, this is your own fault and you better not, like, not at all. Because what we talk about here today is basically human nature.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we all function.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing bad about it or nothing wrong about any of this. And
Yeah.
the whole like social media and the whole culture, the whole healing culture is really built on pathology and how it is not okay to be human or to feel these things, and how you should be exercising 3 times a week,
And even, when we have outside advice, like you should be working out in the sense that, I don't know, like studies show that it does prevent a lot of disease and like it helps your muscle and fascia and connective tissue. And like it's true, you have to work out. It's what do we do with that information? In a way that it doesn't become, we have to do it. Otherwise, I
Yeah,
will be
yeah,
sick in
yeah,
5 years
yeah.
and blah, blah, blah. It's, I know it's good to get there, but where am I at? And that it's valid and I need to like be in my experience.
Yeah.
And eventually I will get there because it's possible, like it's one of the movement that is possible for me in the realms of possibilities.
Yeah.
But let's just take care of what's happening here first.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you a little story about my working out.
Yeah.
So my whole life I was like obsessively, because I also was competing like professional sports, and I was like,
Okay.
oh, let's do this. There was like no listening to any kind of body at all, ever. Also my whole life, I did know this before, but I have the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, is a connective tissue disease, is a progressive connective tissue disease, so it does not get better. And then like I was working out until I couldn't anymore, with like all this collapsing when I moved to the Netherlands. Then I was doing in a very obsessive way, like yoga, like every day for like hours and hours, because if I skip a day, it's really bad. And if I don't walk like this many steps, it's really bad. Ending up again with like body completely collapsed and like a lot of pain because of this connective tissue disorder. Then kind of finding myself, and I was like, okay, then I'm not gonna do anything, on the opposite side of the spectrum. I was like, I'm just no. And then rebalancing back to like, okay, I really need the movement. Like there was a moment for me when I was like not doing anything, quote unquote. I was walking and like doing some dancing, but not like exercise routine as you're supposed to, quote unquote. And then I found myself in a place of like I should be doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the 2 times I did this, I went to a gym completely, like I felt horrible, absolutely horrible both times. So horrible, so much pain for like weeks and weeks and weeks. And then sometime again, like, okay, I should be doing this. And then I did it again. And then again, horrible experience. And then there was a moment for me, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna really listen to the tide that is happening there. Because what we do very often, we think in very short term, weeks, months, years, even. Like years already, like very few people think in years. Usually it's like more weeks and months, and like it's a very fast-paced, quick delivery system, right? If the result doesn't happen in days or weeks, I don't want this anymore.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
really listen to the bigger tide of this movement of me for 30 something, like 33, 35 years. No, I started when I was 5 years old. So from 5 years old to 35, I was like in a complete override, like obsessively exercising for punishment, not for health. Then there was a period of a couple of years of collapse where I couldn't do anything. And I was like, wait, wait, wait. So 30 years of my life, that was happening. Like the tide was moving this way. And then the tide is moving down and into the inability to do anything with this. And so now I'm deciding with my thinking will that I must be doing something. Like, let me listen for what actually is happening. And there was movement. There was movement. There was movement. And I was like, okay, if I really feel stuck here, that I like, it's impossible, nothing is impossible, I will forever stay here like this, like completely stuck in this, like, then I will do something with it. We will see. But if there's movement, there is no problem.
Okay.
So there was a life movement happening. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna like listen. I'm gonna leave it be. And this is exactly what I meant, like going into the movement, into the thing that is already happening. And so I'm still in the movement. Like I walk a lot. I walk a lot every day. Like I have a lot of movement, but I don't exercise. But I move a lot.
Yeah, me too.
But I don't exercise. So there's also a difference for me. But yeah, kind of the point that I wanted to make is listen to the bigger, longer tide.
Yeah.
Instead of very short term.
Yes, this is really, really interesting. It's really interesting because I think working out is really a topic for many people, even if they don't admit it, because there is a lot of shame. And it's not always easy to find the balance between what you just said, like what is actually happening for you, and the fact that, like we said earlier, also the less you work out, the more you're going to get used to it. And so
Yep.
it's going to get easier to not work out. And
Yep.
so to what extent is just move also interesting, but like what movement, in which direction? So I love this topic.
And the answer to those questions will be yes. Always a yes. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have time to just answer some last question? Oh, yes. I wanted to ask you about the nervous system hierarchy.
Yes. There's another good.
Yeah. So that we don't miss on our physiology questions, because that's why we did this
Yeah.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's another point that a lot of people miss, and I mentioned it before, like with the glasses and the prescription, because again, speaking of the sensory input, the nervous system hierarchy goes like this. Visual is on the first place, has priority number one. So most information, sensory information that we receive are through eyes, if that works. Then on the second place is vestibular system, the balance system. So the system in the inner ear that answers one question, where is up? And fun fact, trees have a very similar vestibular system. And on the third place, like the hierarchy, is proprioceptive system, the ability to sense where is my body in space. Yeah, visual, vestibular, proprioceptive. And again, a lot of the times, like, did you do like eye exercises? Did you stand on one leg today? Those super simple stuff. This is, by the way, this is also like my secret, quote unquote, of how I stay very strong. Like I have extremely strong core and legs and stuff without exercising as like, I do this. I do like very like smart nervous system, like brain feeding stuff.
I love it. Like you do orienting and
Like some eye movement, some exercising, just the vestibular system stuff, balance, like sometimes walk backwards, or like walk with your head turned one direction, other direction, like up or down, to train this is like the basic stuff to train. This is training your body for safety. Simple. Again, simple, but not that simple at all. But even just if you walk on a street, you walk in a very specific way. Like your gait is very like kind of same all the time, right? And even if you change and you just sometimes just look up with your eyes, or you look up with your whole head and you just keep walking, it will be a completely different experience. But the more you do this, again, the better you become, and the better your body is able to perceive all the information, and the safer everything becomes. And so your safety line, just baseline, just goes like boom, super, super like high. And when your brain is happy, your brain gives you more strength, more flexibility, more range, more balance, more of all of the good stuff.
I love this. It's like when you do arm movements
Mm-hmm.
and you follow them with your eyes,
Yeah.
you might be dizzy the first time,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
then you stop
Yeah.
being dizzy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like basic, but not at all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Visual training, vestibular training, proprioceptive training.
I love this. Okay, where does interoception sit? Because what you talked about is a relationship with the external. I just
Mm-hmm.
wonder if interoception sits somewhere in the nervous system.
Well, interoception is a ability
Yeah.
of perceiving information, like internal information.
So yeah, it's a sense,
Yeah.
kind of. Okay.
It's also something as anything else, something you can definitely cultivate and train.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
and also it starts with healthy nerve endings and healthy peripheral nervous system and the communication and the healthy spine as well, the spinal cord, because the spinal cord is a literal information highway from brain to body, body, brain. And at the same time, this is a great supportive practices, but it does not solve everything. This is something I say also all the time, that no one thing can be your everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I'm gonna do spinal movements and everything will be fine from now on, and all the trauma will be released from my body. No, it doesn't
This
work
is
like this.
such a good point. This is such a good point. And I think it's reinforced a lot with marketing of like, this is the best modality, this is the best thing. It's like
No.
polyvagal theory, and you're gonna be
Oh,
obsessed with it. And then it's this thing or that
yeah,
thing.
no.
It's always the next best thing. And this is so important. It's many different things. And also, like some people go the physiology route, like head on, and they do not at all entertain the
Mm-hmm.
more emotional and spiritual side of their trauma, for example.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's the opposite. You would go just one way.
And not just trauma, but like all of life.
Yeah.
Right? It's not just physical, it's not just spiritual, it's not just that, it's everything, and it's so complex. And I understand very much why you would like to narrow it down and focus on one thing, but it is so complex. There's a lot of things going on at any given moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So, how are we doing?
I think we did not miss any point. We did not talk about the sympathetic dysregulated, parasympathetic regulated, right?
Do you want to
Okay.
say some things about it?
Yeah, I'll say something really fast. Okay, so I still find this narrative that when you're in the sympathetic nervous system, quote unquote, because it doesn't mean anything, you are dysregulated and hypervigilant and stressed and blah blah blah. And when you are in the parasympathetic, called rest and digest, you are in the regulated place. Doesn't work that way. And I think also, and I'm also going to super simplify it because it's not the space to overcomplexify it, but it's the point of view where we think that stress or chronic stress is only the hyper one. Like go, go,
Mm-hmm.
go, I can't stop, I feel my heart racing, I cannot sleep. It's the fast, fast, fast. And that when I'm calm, it means it's the good, is I'm rested. But it's not true because the parasympathetic also has the dysregulated aspect of it. Like we talked about earlier, burnout or like freeze, inability to move, depression,
Mm-hmm.
all of those things. And sometimes it can be just an aspect, like I can move and do many things, but there's this aspect of my life, I don't know, like my love life where I feel frozen. I can't move, I can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So the parasympathetic is great. It is the rest and digest, but it can also be mobilized when your body feels like it's against death, like you're going to die. The parasympathetic is what is going to make you die so that you can protect yourself and have hope of surviving
Mm-hmm.
after the threat. And so, yeah, stress is much more complicated than just the sympathetic. And so it also means that the sympathetic also has health. Of course, like there is a sympathetic regulator that we talked about earlier, the fast health, like just running or intense
Mm-hmm.
workouts or anything that is fast is in the sympathetic. I'm simplifying it, sympathetic. I hope this clarifies because I actually found myself, I don't know, I think it's someone I follow who posted something being like sympathetic versus parasympathetic. And I was like, okay, no, we
No,
need to say
no,
something.
no, no, no.
This needs to stop, especially because it's useless. Like you don't even need to understand the sympathetic and parasympathetic. It's not something I explain to my clients ever. So I don't even understand why everyone feels the need. It's honestly useless. Like,
Yeah.
just forget about it. I mean, in my opinion, yeah.
And there's another thing that people like, especially medical doctors, for some reason, they say a thing is like, do you have stress in your life? Like, you need to remove stress out of your life. I'm like, cool, thanks. I'm gonna go and do that now. Like, how's your, like, did you remove all stress out of your life? Good luck with that. How's that working out for you?
This is really why I love internet. I love social media, honestly, and I love podcasts because these are what helped me realize that stress is so like is not what we think. I remember in my early 20s, I would have digestive issues, and the doctor would tell me it's chronic stress, and I would be like, okay, so then what? And they'll be like, well,
Remove stress out of your life.
and then I'll be like, but I don't think I'm that stressed because
Yeah, yeah.
you don't always feel stressed. And they'll be like, yeah, well, it can help you. Or
Yeah.
like hair loss,
It's
it's
chronic
stress.
stress. Yes, it's all
Yeah.
stress.
I
Stop
can't sleep.
stressing.
Oh,
Stop stressing.
okay. Thank you. I'll just like look
Thanks.
at
Yeah, now it's better.
good.
So here's an advice for everybody who's listening. Just stop stressing.
We just solved your problems.
Yes, write us a thank you note. Just calm down and stop stressing.
I think we did a pretty good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone talking to the listeners, if you have questions or comments, please do send them our way so we can even do a Q&A episode
Hmm.
or reply to your question.
Yes, exactly. Cool. To be continued. I have many, many other ideas now, like a little portals everywhere.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. That was so much fun. So much fun.
Thank you. Yeah, I loved it.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.